What's up everybody, Jason here again from A Lost State of Mind, and I'm going to show you another video where I deconstruct a song that I wrote. Most of you have probably heard this one. It's a song that's not on an album yet, but it will be on an album pretty soon. It's still up on my website right now, but it's just listed under the singles tab. Part of the reason why, though, is because it is not necessarily finished mixing yet. I wrote it, I got a rough mix down, I posted it, then just moved on to other things. So it's going to be polished up, but this is basically the mix that I have. I made a few minor changes because a couple weeks ago I had to reinstall everything on my computer again, and I don't use a lot of plugins anymore. If you look, you can see a lot of my plugins are basically grayed out because I'm not using them right now. So it's not going to sound too pretty, but you'll get the idea. This song is called The Last Transmission from the First Woman in Space. Sometimes I like to write concept music, and a lot of my instrumentals, the message that I'm trying to portray in my instrumentals are usually within the song name. It's kind of my way of saying, hey, I don't have lyrics, but this is what the song means. The song's about a woman. This is alleged because nobody can prove that this really happened. Back a long time ago during the Russian space wars, the Russians were trying to put people in space, so were we. And I guess, according to the story, a Russian woman went up in space, and she didn't make it. I guess her ship burnt up upon reentry, and allegedly these two guys captured. They were like tapped into some frequency where they were able to listen to the transmissions from people out in outer space. And I guess they got this woman, and it's been translated, and you can hear this woman talking about I'm getting hot and burning up. And so it was kind of a weird, mind trip for me, because no one ever talked about it. If this story is true, it's been covered up. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything like that. But if this story is true, the Russians don't talk about it. And so it's just been kind of pushed aside, if you will. Again, I don't really care if the story is true or not. It was just a neat thing to write about. And so that's basically where this comes from. So the beginning of the song, if you look down here, I have the transmission from that woman. And you can see I started this song with her talking, and I ended the song with her talking. And so this is the transmission of just her right here. And it kind of fades in. And so it kind of goes on a little bit. I added some reverb to her voice just so it wasn't so right up front in your face. But it was soft reverb, so I didn't go crazy with it. So what happens is she talks for a few seconds, and then I come in with this riff, and I'll go ahead and, again, I'll solo everything, and then I'll play it back together like I always do so you can hear it. And the guitar was printed with reverse reverb, and by printed I mean it's not. For example, I have a delay. I have a delay send into this. It's sent into this track. It's not printed onto the track, which means I can turn on and off the delay as I wish. If I open this up, you can kind of see where the delay was on, and then it shut off at the very end because I didn't want it to be delayed during the heavy parts of the song. If you add too many effects while a lot of things are going on, you're going to lose a lot. So I try to keep my effects minimal when there's a lot going on, and I kind of push the effects a little bit more when there's not much going on. So that's what I did there. Now, by saying that the reverse reverb is printed onto the track, that means that it's in the track. I can't get rid of it, even if I wanted to. So So together, we have the woman talking, and then so unlike a lot of the songs that I've worked on, this song comes right in at this point right here. It comes in with the guitars, and it also comes in with the bass, the drums, and also that guitar. As you can tell, the song pretty or that main riff plays behind everything as I go through the song, and I'm gonna solo the single elements, and then I'm gonna play it all at once. And I'll be kind of brief about this. So I don't bore anybody. So we'll start with the drums. When the drums come in, they don't just come in right away. There's a snare hit that kind of symbolizes, hey, shit's about to hit the fan. So you get the idea there. The bass, it sounds a little bit funny. I'm not sure if I'm going to redo this bass line or just mess with it a little bit more because I don't know if I'm happy with the bass yet. It sounds funky, but it kind of does fit in the mix. You'll hear this right now. Now with the drums. Now I could with the bass if I really wanted to. I can mess with my EQ. You can tell I took a lot of out of the high end frequencies. This is almost near 4K where the frequencies can kind of get annoying. I took the mud out and the bass is high, and I could go again. I could go extreme with this frequency. Not with this frequency, with this EQ, and turn up the bass, and do all this crazy stuff. But that could affect the rest of the track. I have a different bass now, so I might go ahead and rewrite it. So who's to say right now? But it doesn't sound too bad within the mix, so I'm going to leave it alone, of course, right now, just so you all can see it. And the last thing that comes in, besides the bass and the drums and this main guitar that repeats, is my distorted tracks. So I'm going to go ahead and just play them all together. So as you can tell, I do a lot of the heavy 8-string type guitar stuff. But also, you can see I have 4 tracks going on here, and they're both pan left and right, left and right. It's a hard left and right. And again, for anybody that doesn't know, whenever I and a lot of people, when we record guitars, we'll play the guitar part, and then we'll pan that, let's say to the left, right? And then we'll go ahead and re-record the guitar, replay it, and then pan it to the right. And what that does is it opens up your stereo imaging. It makes the song seem a lot bigger, if you compared to if you didn't do that. I used to do this thing way back in the day when I didn't know anything about audio recording or production. I would just copy and paste a guitar track, and it didn't do anything because it's still the same sound. The idea is if you re-record it, there are going to be some minor inconsistencies in your guitar playing, which is going to cause it to just sound different when it's spread out. I don't really remember all the exact reason why it does that. I'm sure some of you will know. I just know it works, and that's just kind of what I stuck with. So this is the left guitar, and then I'm gonna add in the right guitar. And then I'll go ahead and do the other set. You can tell it's a lot more muffled. And the idea is, of course, I use an 11 rack when I record, but I used to record with amps back in the day when I had all that equipment. And I used to do different things. Like I'd take two different microphones and record a guitar track. And each microphone had a different frequency. Some sounded more muffled, some sounded very high and shrill. And what I would do is take that take, and then I would just blend the microphone sounds together to get the sound that I wanted. So you heard the guitar separately. I'll play them all together again so you can kind of hear what they sound like all together. Okay, so you heard all that, and now when everything comes together, I'm going to play the bass. Actually, before I go into that, let me show you one more thing, because I'm going to play this part too. I added this as a way to not make everything so monotonous. It is an instrumental, it is repetitive. So we'll go ahead and I'll just play this little ditty right now. And that's pretty much it. I have a delay on here. I'll go ahead and mute that so you can hear it without the delay. The reason why I brought the delay in, and this is kind of mostly why I do delay stuff, is this particular track is centered straight down the middle. When I do tracks where I sing, nothing really is down the center except for like maybe the snare and the kick drum and the bass. I try to keep everything out the middle so the voice can be heard more. But with this, because there's no vocals, I could use this guitar and kind of make that the vocals. But I wanted to widen it. I didn't want it to just be completely down the center. So one of the things I did with, you can see right here, I have this aux track. It's a mod delay. And it's spread left and right. It's a stereo delay, and the way I have it set up, it's set up so you have one delay that comes in a quarter note and one that comes in a half note. So that way, when the delays do hit, they come in at different times, and it kind of just makes things weird, I guess. It sounded good to me, so I use it. So again, with the delay. This would sound a lot better on headphones, so if you're not wearing headphones, you might want to. So let me go ahead and just play everything now so you can hear how it all sounds when it comes together. All right, so that's the first section of the song. Again, because I'm kind of in the middle of remixing this for the new album, some things are different. I had to reinstall Superior Drummer. I've been using Easy Drummer a lot. For the last two songs I recorded, I use Easy Drummer. Easy Drummer is great, but Superior Drummer allows you to have more editing options. So if I open this up, I have more control over my mixes, and I can do a lot of stuff. I basically can mix the drum track without actually having to print everything out into audio, whereas with Easy Drummer, I have to print everything in audio, which either way is fine. But also a Superior Drummer, it has a more epic sounding drum track, so I can write more ballady type songs, whereas Easy Drummer, it seems like I have to do more in-your-face type of stuff. So it's good to have two different programs because it allows me to do different things if I want. It gives me more options. but I just reinstalled this right before I did this video, so I haven't installed a lot of the extra plugins, the extra sound packs, all that stuff. So I'm missing quite a few things. So I just installed a basic Superior Drummer install, and it's going to be a little either quieter or louder depending on how you're listening to it. So I apologize if there's anything that's too much in here or too little. So just it'll get better. So once that song fades out, you can hear. So what happens is it does another two snare hit, and then if you look down here, I don't have much going on except for just the drums, and I have this track right here. Another thing I didn't do is I didn't really color code or organize this session. So again, I'm better than that. So here's this track right here. One thing I haven't really talked about yet, for anybody that is interested in audio production, whether you use Pro Tools or not, you always want to put in fades between your transitions and your between each clip. Because what can happen, it doesn't necessarily always happen, but what can happen is if you don't put these transitions, and this applies to podcasters, anybody. If you don't put these transitions, you're going to hear sometimes a pop or a crackle, because without getting into too much detail, what happens when you have these little I don't want to call them sine waves because they're not sine waves, but they're basically audio waves. And if the audio wave gets cut, let's say like right here, for example, and then the next audio wave starts like at a different spot, it could cause an unnatural pop or a click, and you hear it a lot, especially in bass tracks for some reason. With Pro Tools, it's as simple as just highlighting the whole clip and then hitting F. And I don't know what any other DAW does. I don't think Audacity allows it, but it's just something to consider. So that's why if you see the grays, or if you see a bunch of fades in between each clip, it's not that I'm fading the clip out. It's adding these really, really, really small fades, just enough to get rid of that pop and crack, but it doesn't affect the overall audio. As you can hear, this was very seamless. So anyway, moving on. After this part, after the first segment ends, and you have this part that comes in, you have this next part that comes in right here, up here. So you get that, and then of course I have the heavy guitars that come in too. So you get the idea. And I heard a little pop and cracks on my F. All right. So what happens there is whenever everything comes in, I'll play it right now. All right, so that's pretty much it. And then this whole entire segment, this also ends too. I think there's 3 or 4 different segments in this song. The next segment pretty much starts off right here. The drums end, and then this comes in. So I basically have the bass ring out here, and then I just palm mute it. The same chords, just I palm mute it. After the bass, you have this part that comes in. Of course, you can tell there's heavy bass on there without the, I'm sorry, heavy delay on there without the delay. So it's panned hard left. And then you have the same thing going on down here. Again, I recorded the track separately. It's the same thing. I'm just going to play it with delay. And together they sound like this. All right, and the last thing, I haven't done this as much, not since the Portsmouth album, but I use, and I should have showed you this last video, but I use an EBow a lot with my songs. An EBow is great because you basically just turn the sucker on, you put it not on the string, but above the string, and the string will just resonate forever until the battery dies in the EBow. And so I came up, usually the notes that I come up with, I'll find a note that kind of just fits the song, and I'll put the EBow on, I'll bend the string, and I'll just let it resonate. It becomes kind of a drone note. And that's it. You can hear where I kind of copied and pasted this clip and how it kind of restarted, but within the context of the song, you don't really notice it, so. And the last thing I did kind of like a little easy solo here. It's clean though. It's right up here. And that's that. And so all together it does this. Now, the very last part of this song is the same as the first part. So I'm going to start it right before that little segment ends, and it's going to lead right back into what I've already showed you. But I did a little drop here. So basically when the song ends, you hear a little bit of the fade out from the clean guitar, and then it just comes right back in. So here we go. And then it ends just like this. And that's all there is to it. Very simple song. As you can tell, I don't have 60 or 80 tracks going on, just a few tracks. Of course, that might change when I remix this and I add more submixes and more aux sends and things like that. But you can achieve a lot with just a little. If you really know, if you focus on like what you're trying to do. I admit that when I write music, I'm not always prepared or planned. I just kind of write what sounds good, put it all together, and it's not until later where I'm like, oh shit, I have to like start doing all this stuff to it. So it takes a long time for the song to be, to get a life of its own, for me to like really get a hold of it, if you will, if that makes any sense. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. If you guys want me to pick apart any songs that you've listened to in the past, I mean, I have on my website, aloststateofmind.com, I have 6 or 7 albums on there right now. And so if there's a song you want to hear picked apart, you want to know how it's done, or if you have any specific questions, whether it's in regards to audio production, mixing, mastering, songwriting, whether it's in a general sense or whether it's within the context of one of my songs, feel free to ask me. You can email me, leave a comment on the videos and everything like that. Again, I don't know everything about everything, and I have a lot of bad habits. I have a lot of good habits, and I also don't own $1 million studio. So I make do with what I have. So not everything I say is canon. Not everything I say is the right way to do it. It's just what works for me. And so if you're one of those people that you feel like you have a better way of doing it, by all means, let me know. I know how the audio production world is. People can be dicks. That's fine too. If you want to be a dick about it, I don't care. It's not going to hurt my feelings at all. But feel free to check out my site, aloststateofmind.com. Feel free to leave me comments, questions, or anything like that. And I would love to interact. And that's it. Thanks for watching.